Hello guys, I'm Super Ron, welcome back to the channel and we're back at Auto Shack, back on the Caddy show car. In this episode, we're going to solve an age-old Mk1 Caddy problem of rear lights not working, and to do that, we've got to think outside the box. The rear bulb holders are no longer available. They're a common failure point on the Caddies, so we need to think of a solution. So in the last episode, we got it pretty much MOT ready. We went through the suspension, got the tracking done, sorted out the camber, got the air suspension ride height sorted out, we've got all the brakes checked on the brake rollers, we've got the seat belts in, and now we have everything to complete an MOT. We've got wipers, we've got squirters, we've got a horn, we've got side lights, we've got headlights, we've got indicators. The only thing holding us up is these rear lights. So as I am an avid 3D printer, that is where I looked for a solution. I checked on Thingiverse and there are files for rear bulb holders for the Mk1 Caddy. Someone has 3D designed it, and the beauty of Thingiverse is they share it for free and you can download and print it yourself. So let's head off home, print one out, and then try it in to see if it fits. And it's all done. That was 1 hour 40. We'll clean up these supports, see what it looks like. These look amazing. The detail is perfect. Even got the little stops, the way you screw it in. Perfect hole down the middle, and the mounting points at the back. I think that's going to work. So here is our 3D printed part. As you can see, it is identical fitting to the original. So much so, it even has the little ridge in it, the same as this. So that sits in. So let's try this in, see if it actually works. So that goes in, hits the stop, and that is legit in there. Right, so now we know this works. Let's go home, print some more, and then we'll get the bulb holders to go in the back. You can see all its plans out, the brim's done, so now it'll start building up from here, and it started building up the bulb holders. And now they will just grow and grow from here. And 6 hours and 21 minutes later, we have a full set. And anyone that does 3D printing and has played filament roulette can see this was almost out. Not to butter, because we are done. Ready. So now we got our 6 bulb holder adapters. If we have a look again on Thingiverse, what they use is these universal generic Bay 15S, Bay 15D holders, and they are cheap enough off Amazon. So we've got these, but I've run into a little bit of a problem. These are the exact same ones as they've got here. We've got the single and the double. So you can see the singles are further apart and the doubles are closer together. So on the doubles, the bolt holes line up perfectly. On the singles, we're gonna have to move those bolt holes in a little bit, but that's no great deal. But the problem is how these are assembled. When the bulb goes in, that pushes that like that, so it's on a spring, as you can see, and it's got this guide down here. On that guide, the little tabs do stick out slightly, which are accounted for in here by them grooves. But if you look, the grooves are exactly in line with the screw holes. But on here, especially on this one, you can see they're offset. So when you line the grooves up, the bolt holes don't line up, but there is enough clearance in there to rotate them round. So on these ones, these grooves aren't actually doing anything. But if we look at the doubles, these are slightly bigger, much tighter fit, and the grooves do have to line up, but they don't quite. And we can't lock these in tight and wedge them, because when the bulb goes in and goes around its hook, this is the bit that pushes it back. So what I'm going to do is just shave these off a little bit. All they've got to do is just stay in line to make sure it all stays clear. Because if we disassemble this, you can see how they work. If we tilt this over, so all these are a contact in the middle. We've got a heat resistant pad, and that just goes to the wire. So that's our pin on the bottom of the bulb. And we've got our spring just to keep tension. So the other thing I could do, which I tried, is to unpick this. These two pieces are pressed together, and that end is burred over. I tried to unpick that, because then I could just rotate this round and clock it so this slot is in line with them. But they're pinned over, and it's not that easy. So I think what I'm going to do, we assemble these back together, is if I shave these ears down just enough, which I have on this one already, that should clear that, and I can re-drill the holes, and that will sit in perfectly and still spring in okay for the bulb. So I think we'll go with that. So let's please take these back to the workshop and get them assembled and wired up. And we're back with our selection of brand new bulb holders. I'm still really impressed that there's a file for these that is going to solve our problem. And full credit for this design goes to Jury Test Labs. He uploaded this in December 2020 and it's only had about 80 downloads. So it goes to show you never know what's out there. Because I could have just kind of got it together, got it to work now and again, but I want something that's going to be reliable and permanent. And with these brand new bulb holders, it is going to be. So let's sort out this wiring and then start putting these together. So like I said at home, we're just going to have to take the ears off where they stick out because they don't line up. And then on the single ones, we are just going to have to re-drill the holes there and there. On the double ones, when we smooth them out, that should go straight in, which would be perfect. I have got a little idea for the indicators as well, which all become clear. Bit of a US mod. But let's start assembling. Oh, that fits straight in now. And bulbs fit in. So now we have got a legit Mk1 Caddy bulb holder. So I'm just going to have to put a ring terminal on here because we need to earth this, and obviously this is plastic. So we'll have our 3 wires, stop, tail, and then the earth point will be on here. I could maybe solder a little tab on there. I'll see what fits in. It's getting exciting. Bulb holder installed. Bulb installed. Assembly installed. This is the double filament, so this is for stop tail. In and on, and in place we've got ourselves a side light. Right, let's make this a little bit nicer. So let's get some organisation. We've got our heat shrink label maker, so we're going to have side stop indicator fog and another side. You'll see why in a minute. And we have it all on our heat shrink, so we can put that on the wires, then we'll know what bulb holder goes in what hole. And of course all our earths as well. And there is our 3 bulb holders all ready for this side. So I soldered the earth point on each one now. So that looks a lot nicer than the ill-fitting ring terminal. They're nice and strong. You can tug on them, they won't come off. We are all labelled. We've got side, stop and earth, so we know what is what. To find out which wire was which, I just put them to a power source. And in these twin filament bulbs, we've got 5 watts and 21 watts. 5 watts for the side light, 21 watts for the brake. So it's easy to tell the difference. So we've got our fog and earth, which is the single filament. That will be our red bulb. We've got our stop, tail and earth, so that'll be for our middle one, go in there. And then for our indicator, I've also put a twin filament bulb holder in. And that is because what I'm going to do is run this with the option of running it like US style light. So when you turn the side lights on, 5 watts will be on the amber and the red together, which I think will look pretty cool. Obviously we'll disconnect that for the MOT, but it's all built in to work if I want it to. And then the 21 watts will be for the brake light and the indicator. So let's get these now in our bulb holders, and they're in. I am super happy with how this has come out. It's a real neat solution. They've all sitting there nicely. The earths are on super tight. That isn't going anywhere. So now we've just got to wire it into the standard Caddy wiring. I've chopped off the original bulb holders there, and this is the original Caddy wiring. And for some reason, which is a bit strange, the plugs aren't paired together. In this one, we've got reverse and stop, and this one we've got side and indicator, but side and stop are in the same bulb holder, so they come out of 2 separate plugs to go into the same bulb holder, which means you wouldn't be able to unplug them to remove the bulb holder. A bit strange, Volkswagen, but I'll put all the original plugs on, then we can wire where the old bulb holders were into my new ones. We do have all of these plugs in brand new. If these wires were a bit longer, then I'd just put the new plug straight on there and they'd plug straight in here. But because they're a bit shorter, we wouldn't be able to get this out to unplug or get in there. So I'll join them up here like factory, and then we can see if we've got some light. For the extra amber side light that I'm gonna add in, I'll put an extra plug in so we can disconnect it, because obviously that is gonna be for off-road use only. Wouldn't dream of doing that on the road. So that'll have another little plug in here, but the hard work is done to get it working. So let's join some wires and get some electricity through it. And here we are, all wired up. So we got our original plugs. The earths weren't actually on a plug, so I've just put them on a plug to make it disconnection easier. We've got our side labelled on there with our cut out side. And anyone worried about putting an extra 5 watts in the side light circuit, we actually got rid of the big bulky 5 watt number plate light in replacement of LEDs. So where this 5 watts has gone is now taken up here. So there'll be no overloading on the wires. So let's try it in. Right, so this is a legit first test. Let's try side lights. Right, brake. So side lights on, indicator on, side lights off. Indicator on. I think that looks pretty cool. So it's still easily distinguishable between side lights and indicator. Oh, you can see the faint dim of this bulb holder almost working occasionally. So this is the problem, as you can see there, or not see as the case is. These bulb holders are just past it, whereas ours, bling bling. And in YouTube magic, got the other side done as well. They're all wired in, so let's hook that up. Right, let's see why this fog isn't working actually. Panic over, it was just a fuse. The fog lights fuse is this one up here, and it just got really corroded. Got a bit furry on the terminals, so put a new fuse in. All the other fuses were looking a bit old as well. It's actually got the original Mk1 Caddy fuses still in most of the slots. So these are what it had as factory. So as these are 40 years old, it's got a box out and replaced all the fuses, so we're all nice and clean. So now we should have a fog light. Right, let's try again. Side lights. Fog light. So that is looking a little bit pinker. That's because the top's got the red reflect around it. But in real life, that is just as red compared to the white when it's off. And here is the other side all in. So we've got all our bulb holders, exactly the same. I've got the double filament bulb at the top again. We've got side lights, indicator and earth. So we're wired in just the same into the factory plugs. Got our earth point. So let's bolt these in and go for a full house. Side lights. Left indicator. Right indicator. Brake. fog. Reverse. Brake without that on. Indicator, indicator. Full house. So I am super happy with these. I love how they just fit in the factory holes. They look like a factory bulb holder. They go in, they click into place, so they're not gonna fall out. So the only thing we've got to watch is everything we print is in PLA. That's the filament type. So it's nice and strong, nice and easy to print. The only problem with it is temperature. If you heat this up with a heat gun, it will just melt again. So we're gonna have to see how these go. I think with the bulb holders being so far away and the bulbs being inside the light, they're not actually gonna create too much heat. The bulbs that are gonna be on all the time, which is the side lights, are only 5 watts anyway. The indicators, the brake, are only gonna be on momentarily. The only ones that are gonna be on for a long time, possibly, is the fog light in the other side and maybe the reverse light. So we'll set these up as a trial. But I think this has solved the solution for Caddy owners everywhere. And they can say goodbye to these for good. I've also been playing with the 3D printing inside. We had that free gauge holder in the middle. So also on Thingiverse, I found this little pre-made airlift performance controller holder. Another little holder complete. It's come out nice. Just a universal one to screw in. So I've just screwed it to the back of this gauge holder for now. I do still want to try and make one of these one piece. So this bit is recessed back. So the controller will sit in there, but it'll be recessed back. For that, I need to 3D design this controller with a square on the end, with a hole in, and another little tab on there. So when it sits in, this will be completely flush with the side. At the minute, that kind of 3D design is a bit beyond my capabilities, so I might have to talk to my son, who has really got a whiz in this 3D design now, and see if he can mock something up with a square like that with the hole in, so everything is sitting flush inside. But for now, we can put this in. That's going to come through there. That'll be fixed in there. And the other thing I've done is turned the airlift controller around, so you can put the orientation whichever way you want, and you undo there's 2 screws on the back, and that allows you to flip this whichever way round. And on the app you can also change the orientation of the screen. So if we plug this back in now with its little USB, tuck that in, so when that's sitting up there, that'll sit nicely. If we turn the ignition on, you can see the orientation is now flipped around. So we've got all our pressures, our tank pressure, and all the buttons. Each corner you can raise and lower. So we'll fix that back in its slot nicely, and that will look really nicely in the middle there. So I'm pretty happy with how that's looking. We just need a mount V2. Right, so I think that was our final tick on our to-do list. We now have working and reliable rear lights, which is quite a rarity in a Caddy. I think we are ready for an MOT. Now, I do know a lot of other show cars with the smooth bays, hidden wiring, don't have the most legit MOT. Lots of things aren't working. Usually they don't have squirters for the windscreen wipers, maybe don't have all the lights, the horns, things like that. But I can guarantee this one is going through a fully legitimate MOT. We've got wipers, we've got squirters, we've got horns, we've got all the lights all the way around, we've got excellent brakes. Basically, everything underneath is brand new anyway. Got new fuel lines, new fuel tank, new brake lines, new brakes all round, new tyres. Despite it looks from the outside, underneath, this is a brand new car. So I think this is probably going to bring the project part of this build to an end. So there is going to be another episode. Obviously, I've got to test drive it, I've got to take it out, I've got to make sure all the development work has paid off, so I'll be doing lots of miles in this before we give it back to the customer to ensure that it will be perfect. So I hope you lot have enjoyed the Caddy build. In reality, this saved the channel. I started the Caddy build on the 1st of December last year and started posting the episodes towards the end of December, right at a time where the channel had fallen dead on its face. And I was at the point of giving it up, but for some reason you guys grabbed onto the Caddy project and the figures just soared through the roof, which got me the motivation back up to create these videos for you guys. So I think it is a joint effort all round. If you want to have a recap of the Caddy, we have a full playlist. Every episode is in line, so you can have a nice Netflix binge. We've also got the Caddy Crew merchandise, which you can get down in the description. I've put a lot of work in this, but I am definitely proud of the outcome. So make sure you give this video a like. Be sure to tune in to the next episode where we will take this out for a drive on the real road, fully legit, fully legal. But until then, make sure you have fun.